My talk today is about leadership and life and the interconnection between them. To be successful today, we must be a grounded person. To be successful, we must be a grounded person. And leadership is personal. And who you are drives what you do. I remember the first time that I realized that I was not very grounded. As a young psychologist at Children's Hospital, I was treating a little 5-year-old boy. And he started competing me in a game of chutes and ladders. And I started competing with him. Now here I was supposed to be helping him, and I was more concerned about winning. And I realized that I was completely out of alignment with who I was. That my behavior was inconsistent with who I aspired to be as a human being. During that time, I was treating families of executives, and I realized the powerful impact that they had on their families. And I became very interested in how that played out in the real world. So one of my first business conferences I went to, I walked up to a CEO to start a conversation. He completely ignored me. And I felt for the first time the raw impact of arrogance and narcissism on my self-esteem. A couple months later, I was in a Midwest company, and this woman was very carefully putting chairs in a row in the cafeteria. And I walked up to her and I said, "You seem so happy in what you're doing." She smiled and she said, "The company loves me, especially the CEO." Well, I met that CEO later that day. It was Max Dupree of Herman Miller. Now here were two leadership experiences that were very, very different. And I realized that leaders have a huge influence on millions of lives. They shed light or they cast darkness. They inspire health and performance, or they make people and their companies sick. So over 25 years, I've spent my life studying and advising hundreds of CEOs across dozens of countries. And the big finding for me is that to be successful, to be a great leader, you must be a grounded human being. You must be a grounded human being. And grounded leaders outperform their peers. So, what's the problem that we face? Because when I'm talking about leaders, I'm talking about leaders from all walks of life, from the soccer coach to the factory supervisor to the chairman of the board of the largest company. Well, the problem is that our leadership model is broken. Just look at the headlines of our newspapers today. Business and government leaders, military and church leaders, and our heroes from sports and entertainment who are sabotaging themselves and undermining us as people. Now, there are many well-intended leaders, but how did we get into this position? Well, I think that the problem is that we are operating in the wrong paradigm. And the paradigm goes something like this. What you do defines who you are. We spend so much time talking about metrics and results and behaviors and skills and competencies and accomplishments and our external personas at the expense of who we are as human beings. Well, I'm here to suggest that we need to fundamentally turn this paradigm on its head to say not what you do defines who you are, but who you are drives what you do. Yes, like a healthy tree, we are grounded by our personal roots. And our roots are about our identity and our values and our purpose and our character. And this is what really matters. Leadership is truly, truly personal. And who you are drives what you do. Now, I remember, I actually met Alan Mulally, who is the CEO of Ford, just retiring 20 years ago. And in 2006, he decided to leave airplanes and go to making automobiles. And at the time, the company was losing billions of dollars. And I said, "Alan, why would you do it?" And he said, "What a great opportunity to rescue one of America's corporate icons." So in 6 years, he mastered the what you do part. He transformed Ford. He made billions of dollars. He inspired the hearts and minds of people. So last year I went to his office and I asked him, how did you do it? What was your secret to success? So he got up and he ran over to his computer and he pulled out this wonderful picture that said, "One life, life's work." And he brought it back to me and he said, "This is my philosophy about life." Alan had a plan. His plan was to shed life on business. And he understood fundamentally that who you are drives what you do. And what you do drives how you perform. Now, what I'd like to do is to talk now about 6 roots of leadership. These 6 roots of leadership are critical for all of us as leaders at all levels and all of us in life. So the first one is our physical roots, how you live. Look, the world is moving very, very fast, and we need to create agile and hardy bodies. We need to understand that our body needs equilibrium and that we are confronted by forces, unhealthy forces in our lifestyle that eat away at the inflammation and the rust inside our body. I remember when I had to grapple with the issue of physical health. I gained 35 pounds while I was writing Grounded. Now go figure that. I became obsessed with the task and the deadline, and I forgot about my physical health. Now fortunately, with daily commitments, I took all the weight off, and I'm very happy about that. But physically healthy leaders understand the connection between their mind, their body, and their heart. They're able to tap into their energy, and they're able to rejuvenate themselves, and they're able to truly live a peak performance lifestyle. So ask yourself, how do you get sabotaged by your physical roots? And do you take time to recharge and rejuvenate yourself? We live in a world of uncertainty. A world of uncertainty where stability is an illusion. I was having lunch with a wonderful fellow from Chile and in a conference in London, and Nando Parado was introduced to me. And Nando Parado walked up to the stage and he mesmerized the audience. Now, you may know the story of Nando Parado and his team, a group of rugby players. Their plane went down at 11,000 feet. For 72 days, they were caught in the freezing cold. He lost his mother and his sister, and he was unconscious for 3 days. And on that mountaintop, Nando really understood the power of his emotional roots. He understood the power of possibility and about positive emotions. You see, grounded leaders are deeply self-aware. Grounded leaders know that we are hardwired for positive emotions like love and compassion and empathy, and for negative emotions like fear and anger and sadness. And they experience the full range of their emotions, but they spend most of their time on the positive side. They also are comfortable being uncomfortable. They fall down and they get back up from adversity. And they truly fall in love with their imperfections. And they're careful not to get hijacked by their past, or worrying too much about the future, or being shackled by control and perfection and success. This is the critical importance of emotional health. And Nando understood how to live and lead in an uncertain world. The third root is intellectual health. Our intellectual roots help us think. You know, every 18 months, the amount of data and knowledge in the world doubles. So we need people who can expand their minds every day in order to innovate and adapt. Here's a wonderful quote from Kumar Birla. He runs one of the largest companies in India, the Aditya Birla Group. Now, he's 46 years old, and the quote says, "Every day is a new day for me, and the quality of the future depends on the quality of my imagination." So every day, what he's chosen over the last many years, and I met him when he was 27 years old. His father had just died, and this business was thrust on him. And he has been amazingly successful by running this large company. And his secret is that he reinvents himself and his leadership. It's like his life is like a learning laboratory, like an experiment. So the question for you is, how are you reinventing your life in the midst of all the emails and tweets and bullets that you experience every day. The fourth root is our social roots, which is how you interact. You know, we live in a 24/7 world where technology is rewiring our minds and our relationships. It's a world where you can't hide and everything is connected. And you know, we're much more connected than we think. I'll give you an example. You go into a dentist office and you hear the drill and you actually feel the pain of the person under the drill. Or somebody walks into this room with a smile and we feel that positive energy and we feel happy because our emotions are contagious and our relationships are like social electricity and we energize and de-energize each other. So if we did a focus group of leaders right here and we asked them what do they want from their leaders, they want leaders who are real with integrity. They want their leaders to have courageous conversations with them, but conversations that have empathy and fairness and respect. So that's why I love the duo of Duo Amal. I don't know if you know them. Duo Amal means hope in Arabic. And here are two 20-something young men, one from Israel and one from Palestine, who have come together to bring their social roots together to truly change the world. They play piano concerto music. And what they believe is that by coming together and communicating, they can change the way the world thinks about these two countries. And they inspire hope for all of us in the future. So are you a positive or a negative energizer of people? The fifth root is our vocational roots, which is how you perform. So how do you take your physical energy and your emotions and your best ideas and your relationships and create something of value? That's what great leaders do. And how do they perform at their highest level? That's why I love Kay Koplowitz. Kay Koplowitz is one of my heroes. She's a pioneer in the media business. She started USA Networks. And she has a plan. She's one of the most competitive people that I know. She competes in some of our largest corporate boardrooms, and she also competes every Saturday night in her tennis matches. Now, how does she do it? She basically competes by having a vision of success. She's committed to learning. She's passionate, and she inspires the passion of others. And she also understands how to deal with rejection. She goes under and over and above obstacles to turn lemons into lemonades. So how do you raise the bar on yourself to do masterful work? The last and final root is our spiritual roots. And this is how you live. Now, this surprised us more than anything because we rarely talk about our spiritual health in our workplaces. But spiritual roots were the most significant predictors of leadership performance. Now, what are spiritually healthy people? Spiritually healthy people are people who have a higher purpose, who believe that they are part of a world that is bigger than themselves, and they have a generosity of spirit. Spiritually healthy people are people who embrace the cultural differences among us, and they truly understand how to feel gratitude in life. This is the power of spiritual health. Now, what's interesting is that we are naturally hardwired for being generous and having gratitude. And that natural hardwiring enables us to compete in a global world and at the same time to embrace the commitment to build a sustainable planet for generations to come. Spiritually healthy leaders build higher purpose companies, and higher purpose companies outperform in the world. From Unilever to Starbucks, from Stonyfield yogurt to Panera bread. These are companies who beat the pants off of their competition. So ask yourself, are you a giver or are you a taker? And are you a global citizen and a spiritually healthy person? So there you have it, the 6 roots of being grounded. Physical health, emotional roots, intellectual roots, social roots, vocational roots, and spiritual roots. Now, much like our human body, these roots work together like our cardiovascular system and our respiratory system and our nervous and immune system, where everything is connected. So are these roots. They work as a holistic, integrated, living system. So, where does that bring us? Here's the last point that I'd like to make. And that is, we are at an inflection point, I believe, in history. We have an opportunity to evolve as people and as companies and as a civilization, to fundamentally change our thinking about leadership and life. You know, neuroscientists tell us that 5% of our brains are conscious. That means that 95% of our brains are unconscious. Imagine if we could increase our consciousness by 1 to 2 percentage points. The return on investment would be amazing. What if we lived these roots every day? What if we shared these roots and nurtured these roots with other people? We would be healthier and more self-aware. Our teams and our organizations would be better performing, and we would be able to create a global society and a sustainable planet. You see, if we look at ourselves in the mirror, let's ask ourselves, how can we bring our whole self to work today? So let me just leave you with this final point, and that is, each of us every day make a choice. We choose to live our life in fear or to live our life in love. We choose to water our roots or to starve them to death, because we have a choice. Leadership is personal, and being grounded really, really matters. Thank you all very much.